yeah! There you go, do it to eat! Cover Lachhh by Pixels on LP by Lachhh. Well, I did already. Nymphus! The Pixels on LP! Look at that shark! I'm gonna prepare my voice a little bit. La 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 la. La 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 la. Call the right person, or should I call James instead?
Oh, we can do the group call. Here we go.
Okay. Sweet. Okay, cool. Can you show something on the camera so everybody can see your beautiful faces?
Yeah.
Can. Let's see. Hey, there it is.
Yeah, my camera's a little out of commission right now, but I think we can see James, and I can pop over there for a second.
Sweet. Okay.
I'll come wave here.
Okay, I'm gonna see how it works because the first time I do a group call, actually, guys. So I'm gonna do a little intro, and we all be able to see your face. All right. Stay there for 5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
If it shows up, come on. Hello. All right, there you go. So it's awesome, people I'd like to be. Please, whoa, it works. Sweet. Today we are with James Silva and Michelle. Who are the awesome people I'd like to be this week. Please, guys, present yourself. You're in the spotlight. My audience can hear you. They have some question prepared. Go ahead for 20 minutes. You can talk about your game, the story. Go ahead. You're in the spotlight.
Hey. Right.
Hey. I'm a cat picture right now.
Nice.
Oh, so sweet.
So yeah, I'm James. Michelle is a cat picture. We are Ska Studios. We're working on a game called Salt and Sanctuary. That's most easily described as a 2D Dark Souls. There's obviously a lot more to it, but
yeah, we saw the trailer before we did the interview. We saw the trailer. It looks amazing, man.
Cool. We have a newer trailer. I think did you watch? Which I think Wash to Shore was the first one, and we just released one called Currents that's much better, but it didn't get a lot of buzz. So I don't know.
The hype, all the hype. Well, I went on your website actually. But I think it was on Ska Studio not hashtag, but dash salt.
Yeah, that's probably the right. Would that be the newest one?
Yeah, no problem. Well, if you have a link, like right after the interview, I can show the trailer again, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can do that.
Yeah, we have 2 trailers now. I can go link that to you.
Sure, Robin. We'll do that afterwards. So yeah, Ska Studio, please. What's the story behind Ska Studio? How much long? Where it was created? Sorry, my French accent is taking over.
It's all good. It's all good. We've existed for about 7-8 years.
Oh. Okay.
And yeah, like 2000. Wait.
It was. I thought so. You founded Ska Studios in 2007, and then our first game came out in 2009.
Yeah, and that
nice.
was the Dishwasher Dead Samurai.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember when we started Berserk Studio, it was in 2008, and it just like got released like a couple of months after the creation. I do remember that. I didn't play that, but I did remember Dead Samurai going. You won a contest or something, right?
Yeah, that was kind of the break.
Nice.
I was it was really amazing how it happened. I was like going through school, going through college, making games as kind of a hobby and hoping that it would somehow work out. And I basically I graduated school, found a real job, and then 2 months before that I had submitted the Dishwasher Dead Samurai into this contest, and then graduated, got a real job. I felt like I have to give up on the games thing. It's not working out. And then 2 months into having the real job, I got an email from Microsoft that was like, they were like, hey, you should come to the thing where we're gonna announce who won the contest.
No way.
And I was like, well, why would I do that? I just
So you didn't think about being?
He had no idea.
Yeah, and they were like, no, you really want to come to this thing, and and then it's been history since then. And actually, I mean, so then Dishwasher Vampire Smile was the follow-up, and I'm gonna put that on Steam. Probably want to put Dead Samurai on Steam eventually too. I'm really slow at it now because we're basically devoting all of our time to Salt and Sanctuary, and there's only 2 of us. But I don't want to have all of our old games die with the Xbox 360.
Right. That's the entire team right there. You're only two in the team.
Us
Whoa.
two. The cats kind of count too. We have two cats that are our studio cats, and they more get in the way than anything. But they are adorable, and
Yeah, they
they're
provide
part of our
moral
team.
support. Ah, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
you didn't even want it to be an indie game developer at first. You just like did that as a hobby, and you send a prototype to Microsoft to win a contest, or was like the final result that we can all play right now?
It was the prototype, and I mean, I actually I wanted to be a game designer more than anything.
Okay.
Since I played like Mega Man 2 on NES, that was just all I didn't want anything more than to do that for a living. But it was just for most of the time shareware was the thing. It was all about shareware, and then I mean, Microsoft saw the indie thing kind of taking off and tried to ride that, and they kind of put me up there as like, here's an indie dev, and I'm like, I just want to make games. I'm not, like I don't know what this trend is, or I just want to make the games I want to play. So here we are.
Nice.
I never got to be a successful shareware dev, but now we're successful indie devs.
Oh, that's amazing. So they give you like some funds to finish the project and actually do a release and everything. Talking about Dead Samurai.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but it was.
I don't want a number, but I just want like they push you up. Like, okay, you have what it takes to be an indie, and they push you up into that direction.
Yeah. I mean, they published it, so they did take care of all the time management, the QA, localization, release management, ratings, all that stuff is a huge pain in the butt.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. So 7 years later, you're working on Salt and Sanctuary. Can you talk a little bit about that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we started working on it we were working on Charlie Murder last, and we started working on Salt and Sanctuary as a little fun side project. And I think the first question was, or we had the question like, what would happen if we made a 2D Dark Souls? Because we were playing a buttload of Dark Souls, and so we started on this little project and showed it to a few industry friends, and they said, you need to make this a game right now. So we finished Charlie Murder, and then we announced that we were going to be finishing Salt and Sanctuary at PAX last year.
Okay.
And before that, we'd what did we do? We had a talk with Sony, and we're like, yeah, let's do it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because I saw in the trailer that it was out for it will be out on PlayStation 4 and Vita.
It's launching initially on PS4 and Vita, and then Steam a little later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we I wonder if we should have just put like the Steam logo in the end. The thing is, Sony has been really cool to us about promoting trailers and stuff. And I think one of their asks was, could you just have the PS4 Vita logo? Which is like, it's like, okay, yeah, so you guys are awesome to us, like, yeah, no problem. But then a lot of gamers are like, no PC, no buy. It's like wait, okay.
That's internet though. Whatever you do, there's gonna be somebody like who's gonna be pissed off at something.
That is the internet, correct?
That is okay. So you got like kind of an exclusivity with PlayStation on this one. I don't want you to put like I don't want you to say something that you cannot. I just want to talk about the thing. You have an exclusivity with PlayStation or for a while, or how did that happen? Did you met that at PAX? How did you contact them?
So yeah, I mean it was we just we had been we'd been talking to Nick Sutner a bit from PlayStation. I think. I'm not sure what his official title is, but he's the guy who goes to all the indie devs. I mean, he knew that we were really, really happy with Microsoft for a long time. But when Xbox One came out, our relationship kind of went weird with. I mean, like it was like a change of management. It was a change of. A lot of changes happened, and we were just kind of left saying, like, so who do we email?
Yeah. When you're losing contact, it's really hard to get back.
So then we just started talking to Nick again, and we said, hey, we have this new game, how do you feel about this? And so we started talking about Sony Pub Fund. Sony Pub Fund it's a program for financial support for indie devs. You know, you're basically giving an amount of exclusivity in exchange for the support. And you know, I mean, for a studio like us, that's like such a big deal. You know, it really helps us eat food. So that worked out really well.
I think I'm hearing a little bit of feedback on both. I don't know. There's a little sound problem. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I hear myself echoing through Michelle's.
Oh yeah, we're in the same room here.
Ah, okay. Okay, nice. So, okay, let's say that you got in contact by going to an event, by going to PAX, or by emailing them. Let's say like I'm an indie game developer. I don't want to get in contact with PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. What should I do? That's a hard question, but
it's hard for us to know because I think we've just had a special case by case where we knew the right person and they got us in contact.
Okay.
It did start out with James's contest though, which is kind of a one-off thing.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. It puts you on the maps and then everything went
right. So we don't really know a good way of, you know, how to get people in contact who don't already have the contact, I guess. Other than just knowing the people who know other people.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if you have like I don't know. I know they have a general submission, like if you want to sign up for Sony's indie program, they have a submission website. But it's kind of impersonal.
Yeah. I see there, there's so questions, mono game is what so actually for our PC builds, I'm still just working on it as an XNA project, and then I have a mono game project that I'm maintaining, just you know, it's kind of identical to the XNA project, and then PS4 and Vita are totally mono game. Thing is, for PC, the XNA it's still, you know, even though it's been you know, it's defunct now. It's still more stable than the current mono game build, I think. And mono game is great, but it's just, you know, it's a little bit of a patchwork here and there.
Okay. All right. I want to go to the audience, guys. Guys, if you have any question, I'm talking to the audience right now. If you guys have any question to Ska Studios, you can ask them in the little client, the RPG, the Lachhh & Friends RPG client. So I want to start with our first question by Emily, saying, what software do you use to make art, animation, and UI?
So we use Photoshop to draw in first, and then James kind of made his own tools from there for the rest of it.
You made your own tools?
Yeah. So I have this animation tool that I made for Dishwasher, Dead Samurai, in 07. You know, and I've been building on it since then, and it's you know, it supports, you know, skeletal hierarchy and interpolation. It doesn't support inverse kinetics. That's the one thing that it lacks. But you know, other than that, though, it's perfect for 2D. You know, I don't know. Cell based, I don't know what you would call it, but it's, you know, you're basically creating a bunch of body parts and stringing them together as a two-dimensional skeleton.
Gotcha. Did you create the tool before or after the prototype of Dead Samurai?
Oh, bioore, yeah, I had to make
it. You made a tool before making the game. Wow.
Yeah. You know something funny? There's something funny that kind of line of reasoning came from reading, I think it'd be like an interview or something from Jeff Vogel of Spiderweb Software, who made the Exile series way back when, and he's still making games. There was just an interview with him on a website called No Don't Die that was a really cool interview. I'll have to give you the link to that. But what he said was, you know, the question was was Exile the first game you made? He said, no, the first thing I made was the Exile map editor. You know, you have to make the editors first, then you make the content. And you know, that's kind of how I've always approached this. It's making editors, and then you get the editor to a point where you're like, okay, now I think I can make a game out of this. And it's kind of like just launching. You know, you don't really know if you have all the stuff in the editor that you will need to make the game do everything you want it to do, but you just kind of hope, and then you end up kind of hacking stuff back into it when you get farther. Oh,
well, that's would you think that that kind of that that reasoning will change now since we have like better powerful tools like Unity 3D or something like that. Like where you can like buy your own stuff, buy your own map editor and etc.
That's what everyone does now, and that's a totally valid thing to do. It's just that you know when I started, it was before that era. You know?
Yeah. I'm in the same position right now. You know, I'm still using Flash, and people are still saying to me like, "Well, Flash is dead. You should use Unity." Blah blah blah. Man, I'm like, well, I spent 7 years making tools and stuff like that on Flash, and now I'm comfortable with those tools. So yeah, I would recommend for new players, for new game developers, to go on Unity or pick a big engine like that. But for me, it's like, well, I have my own tools. I'm good with them, and it's exactly what I want them to do. And if it doesn't, well, I can change it. So I think you're in the same boat, right?
And you can use Scaleform too, right, to convert Flash into like a binary.
Well, I use my own tool as well. I have stuff that I can convert from Flash to Unity. We try to use Scaleform, but we saw. I know that at one point Scaleform announced like we made a game out from Flash, totally from Flash, and put that on the mobile. And I remember that when I downloaded it, it was running at 20 or 30 FPS. So I was like, okay, if the team of engineers behind Scaleforms make a game and it cannot run faster than 30 FPS, it should not be like a good tool for me. So yeah, I made my own tool to export everything, every single sprites and animation and etc. from Flash to Unity actually. So and I'm still doing that. It takes me like I don't know, maybe a week or two to change a game from Flash to Unity, and then I have all the power from Unity. So yeah. So cool. Yeah, the point though is like when you are in your own workflow and when you're comfortable for that with that for like 7 years in a row, there's no point in switching, right?
Yeah. I like the chat. This is staged totally in defense of ActionScript 3.
There we go.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, exactly. We've been paid by Adobe.
I've got my script. I'm just following the script you sent me, and
Exactly. We've been paid by Adobe to say like Flash is not dead. Okay, we're gonna go to the next question by Sent J85. How much time do you spend planning before you actually sit down and write code?
Oh, not.
I think there's no planning.
I think there's no planning. Yeah.
I think the most planning that we ever do is when we travel and we're on a plane and then we don't have any choice except to draw stuff out and design things. But for the most part, we just sit down and do stuff. It's like we don't have really a good concept to actually making it pipeline. It's just straight up, here we go, let's do it right now.
I don't I don't like just having things on paper where I can't see how they act. Like I want to see how it feels in motion, like how it plays. And I'm like I'm pretty good at being able to whip together like a prototype in like a day if it's just kind of some new look or concept or something. So that's usually what happens there. But otherwise, yeah, for like Salt and Sanctuary, the whole world map, I think I made that on a plane. And that was just like a rough sketch, and then I actually kind of fleshed it out just in Engine, in our map editor, which I also made myself.
Of course. Right, so yeah, I really that's my kind of work actually. I just like jump on the keyboard and just like go and do something, just do stuff right now, and if it sucks, well, you remove it, and if it's cool, you keep it, so like really by iteration, you try it and you let other people try it, and then you build from that. So yeah, I do agree with that actually. Nice. So we got
I'm sorry, R2 Robot.
My prototypes took me weeks. Okay, so we got another question by Alucard J. What do you prefer about making console games? Any challenges going from Xbox to PlayStations?
I really like how everything is standard on a console. You don't have to worry about keyboard support or different resolutions.
Yeah,
it's just
different kind of controllers.
Yeah, and like performance-wise, you don't have to worry about slower computers. And then the downside of it. So actually, I mean, like as a in my professional career, I've only done console dev on Xbox 360. I haven't released a Windows game on Steam ever. So that's kind of the weird new thing for me is working with Steam. But yeah, the downside of console release is all certification requirements, all the you know, you have to make sure all the ratings are correct, and all the storefront stuff is, and it's not as like, now that I played with Steam, I'm like, Steam has a really clean interface for this.
Yeah, it's
Like,
pretty easy.
yeah. The console ones are never just like that. You know?
So yeah, I heard that the certification was a really hard process, or a long process, should I say?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes on PlayStation. Oh yeah, that was the other. That was the part 2, was how does Sony compare to Microsoft, or you know, PS4 compared to 360. So the PS4, it's running on mono games, so it's like, I think it's like, I think XA was a bit of a hack to begin with, and then I think mono game on PS4 is also a bit of a hack. So I mean, you kind of get the impression that you're not doing things the way they were set up to be done, you know, especially when you're like looking at the documentation, where it's like, here's the right C++ to do this stuff, and you're like, that doesn't apply to me at all. So yeah, yeah, you know, I mean, eventually you kind of figure out how to make it work, and a lot of times it comes down to stuff just isn't exposed in the you know, in mono game / XNA, you know, so you can't get to certain functionality.
And how's the support from the consoles, actually? Like, do they have like forums or people who can actually help you on their side, or?
Yeah, you know, it's like most of the support that I've been just going after has been from fellow mono game developers.
Okay.
That's where you can get the most, you know, the most feedback. That's if you've heard of Guncraft, the coder for Guncraft, I have been nagging the crap out of him.
Okay. Alright, we're gonna go to the next question. We got a question by John CL0. I think he's talking about one of your game, actually. You may understand what he's talking about. How were you able to create such an extensive skill tree without limiting the variety of abilities and skills? Do you understand what he's talking about?
How did we make such a...
Okay, I'm gonna take it again. Okay. There you go. How
there
are
it
you
is.
able to create such an extensive skill tree without limiting the variety of abilities and skills? Sounds like a hard question.
Yeah, the skill tree, the way...
You can use a pass if you want. I give you 3 passes.
It's...
What's the game, by the way? What's the game he's talking about?
I mean,
I'm guessing Salt, because that has our
yeah,
Okay,
presumably Salt and Sanctuary. Yeah, it's like the way the skill tree is set up. It's just that you can you have like there's proficiencies and there's stats, and the proficiencies are like different, you know, like specific weapons or armor abilities or shield abilities. And then the stats just give you like a point of strength, point of dexterity. So when you're using the skill tree, you're basically making setting a goal for, like, you know, if you're going towards swords or you know, like more like bludgeony weapons like axes and maces or you know, crossbows or whatever. You kind of set a goal for yourself, and as you get to that goal, you expose similar weapons, you know, and you also end up putting stats into or points into stats that help you with those types of weapons.
Okay.
And I'm I'm still not sure I understand the question, but it's just the idea that we had with the skill tree was about, you know, kind of telling a story of training and study, you know, where you're working toward a specific style of combat, and you can branch in different directions. So you can go toward, you know, like you know, bows, daggers, and then also toward magic, or you know, or toward bludgeons, and also toward you know, like cleric kind of skills. But it's not perfect, but I think it's coming along. It makes more sense now than when it started.
Okay, so you kind of have like an idea for the final build. Like if you go through a particular branch in the skill tree, you say like, okay, if I go full-fledged sword, this is what the hero should look like, and you kind of like put some, like, okay, I'm gonna do a couple of +1 strength, for example, or better on sword or whatever. So you have an idea of the end, and you just like construct the branch accordingly. If I'm just in
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think so.
Trying to make sense out of that question.
Right, yeah. And there is the game does have like a huge variety of weapon sets,
Okay.
or of move sets for weapons. You know, like every weapon type has like a one-handed move set, two-handed move set. You can do airborne attacks, grounded attacks. There's air combos. It's kind of like we sort of tried to meet the style halfway between like a Castlevania and a Dishwasher, you know.
Okay,
So you're
okay.
and a Dark Souls. so there's a lot of stylistic combat, but you know it all feels very like heavy and full of consequence.
Yeah, well, it looks like there's a lot of skills involved and a lot of replayability in that game, right? Like you can.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, that's the hope.
Sweet. Oh, nice, man! Can't wait to see that. Actually, is it on early access right now? And as you said, you're not really released on Steam.
No,
You're just like an
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, sweet, no problem. Okay, so we got Michael Senna here asking, how does one decide on what art style to roll with them?
I think we just do what we do. We don't
No
really,
planning, right?
we don't do a whole lot on purpose. Like most of the games, well, all of our games are just James's style he's always used, and then we kind of just work with it and go with it.
Yeah, so no planning, and you just jump and do stuff.
Yeah, I just draw that way. You know, that's so. Yeah, it is. It's a question that we get asked a lot, and it's. I mean, like I'm sure no ill intent is meant, but it's like, it's like one of the like people are like, how did you come up with your art style? And it was like, why do I have to defend my, you know, that's how I draw. You know, I didn't like study books and say this is the style that I want to, you know, no, it's just that's just how I draw. That's how I've drawn forever. I think it kind of morphed from the way I drew Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was like 10, you know, because that was what I would always draw, would be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
So I think the way I draw faces now is an evolution of the way I used to draw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if that makes sense. You know, it's probably a little bit, you know, a little bit anime inspired, a little bit of this, a little bit, but you know, it's not like I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of Dan Paladin, a little bit of Jonan Vasquez, and you know, it's just how I draw, you know. A few great guys, by the way.
just to get that right, you are a coder and an artist. You do both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
and Michelle as well, or?
I don't do the programming, but I also do art and all of our social media and website stuff, and plan for PAX and other events.
Okay, so PR and artist, should I say? Okay, sweet. And James, what did you learn first? How to make art or how to code? Did you learn at school or?
I mean, like I said, I've always been drawing, you know, just as
Okay.
a thing. So actually, it's interesting. I wanted to go to school for 3D animation, but turns out in upstate New York, there's not a lot of schools for 3D animation. So I was like, all right, I'll go to school for computer science and just keep working on games as a hobby, you know, and hopefully I'll get together a game that'll be my big break, you know, and you know, if that doesn't work, at least I'll have a degree in computer science, so I can get a real job, as they call it.
But
so,
no, you're
So,
yeah, go ahead.
well, so you know, working in like just making games as a hobby, like working in art the whole time, and then also learning how to code, it kind of set me up to be able to just, you know, plunk together a game just with you know, out of nothing. So.
And what do you prefer, coding, art, or just like the game making in general?
You know, it's funny. I actually spent so much time in a new craft, which is just using our animation tool to make 2D animations. that's, you know, and which is very specialized, very specialized craft, because it's not a, you know, it's just its own thing. But yeah, I like sometimes I like doing one, sometimes I like doing the other. The thing about coding is it for me, it requires my full attention. If I'm doing art or animation, I can watch a movie in the background.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
whoa, okay, that's you're very powerful, man. You can do code, you can do art, and watch a movie at the same time.
As long as the movie is like simple. Oh, you know, if it's a movie that I've already seen, that's what I realized is the trick. It's got to be a movie you've already seen, because
Okay.
then it's nice backgrounds. buzz.
Okay, it just become like a noise. Like, yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about. When I listen to music, it has to be music that I've listened like 100 times already. So it just like become background noise, or just like a work soundtrack. You know, it kind of set my brain into like, okay, I hear that music, so I should be working, and then I'm like super energized to work. Actually, you know, after a time. So yeah, I don't know if it does that with movies as well.
Yeah. Also, and I listen to music too. I'm on a Chemical Brothers kick right now. I forgot about Chemical Brothers for a long time, and then for some reason, what was it?
I asked you if you knew what the salmon dance was.
Yeah.
And that got you back into Chemical Brothers.
Yeah. So I've got a Chemical Brothers mix I made that I'm listening to now.
Nice. Alright, gonna go to the next question. Mr. Rex is asking, how do you prevent code or project burnout?
I don't know.
You don't know? You've never had that problem?
Well,
I think what you get is you start having ideas for other projects that you want to do.
Yeah.
And then, like, you still want to do the project you're working on, but it gets less interesting or less inviting to work on when you're at the end of the project and all you have left is bugs and and tweaking. Yeah.
I think actually so once we signed once we signed Salt and Sanctuary with Sony, I pretty much backburnered the PC port of Dishwasher Vampire Smile, which was our second XBLA game, and the one I feel the best about for a Steam port. So like just last night, I just kind of I didn't have that updated on my local source control because I had a hard drive crash. And anyway, last night I just got it set up with local source. So I'm gonna be that'll be my burnout project, is when I feel burned out on Salt and Sanctuary, I'll just work on the PC port of.
Okay, just like take a break.
Yeah. It helps to move right, because then you've still got creative momentum, but you're not, you know, like you still have the creative juices flowing, but you're not, you know, you're just working on something else, and then you go back to the original and you're like, yes, and I have all this stuff set up, and everything was so great. I just had a few bugs to fix. Yeah, you know, it's nice to keep the momentum going.
Yeah. I mean, starting a game is so easy, but finishing one is really, really hard. Like, it's never finished. It's always something, and you can. Yeah, it's really hard to finish one, but yeah, it's a good advice to actually like take a break, start a new project, something like in a weekend or something, and you know, start back. Which leads me to another question I had myself, but I can see that R2 Robot is asking actually. So R2 Robot asking, since you work from home, do you maintain any office schedule? You have any like tight schedule or something?
Not really. Actually, it's we kind of tend to sleep in a bit, but then I'll just sort of work from I'll wake up at like 9:30 and then just work.
Just like kind of get some coffee from downstairs and then come back up and work. Yep.
Okay, so you're just like, you don't have any office schedule or anything. You're just like, you woke up and when you're ready, you go ahead. Do you work on weekends as well, or?
Yeah. I think weekends though, when we have stuff going on. So normal people who have normal jobs have the weekends off, and so when we have friends that have, you know, Monday through Friday jobs, they do stuff on the weekend. So weekend is generally when we're actually busy because we have so much going on with friends. But if we don't have something going on, we still just keep working.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha. Oh, look at you! Beautiful cat. So that's cat number 1.
This is Nico.
This is cat number Nico.
Hi, Nico. How you doing?
Good old time.
Look at her. Sweet. I just got a new cat, actually. I mean, actually, it's really weird. I didn't, like, a cat broke into my house, and so now I have a new cat. So that's the story.
That's kind of break-in.
That's a good way to get a cat.
I was like,
break-in.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so now I guess I have a cat now, you know, and that's it, you know. Because I was like getting downstairs to get a coffee, and I saw that my, not the actual window, but the thing that protect the window, you know, when the windows is open, it was like going down, and the cat was just over there and eating stuff from the floor. I was like, oh, okay, I guess like welcome home then.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Nice. Okay, so I'm gonna ask like one last question, guys, and then we're gonna close the interview, and I'm gonna pop your trailer for Solid Sanctuary or anything that you guys want to spam the chat with, your trailer, your website, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever. You guys are in the spotlight, so our audience is yours. So one last question by Kujak TSL. What was the hardest part of making a Dark Soul-esque game?
I think the hardest part has been drawing inspiration from Dark Souls, but not being just a clone of Dark Souls.
Cloning.
And I think if you play the game, you can definitely feel and see how it is our own game, especially if you've played previous Dishwasher games. It feels a lot like a Dishwasher game, but with the added, stamina
Signature.
bar and skills of Dark Souls.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a weird balance, because we'll be like we're trying to draw inspiration from Dark Souls while also trying to make it our own product, our own feel, our own theme, everything, and we're like I mean I'm like obsessing over okay, like is this detail too much like this, is it too much our own, like how are we really gonna let our stuff shine, and like people are like, hey, can you put Solaire in? we're like, no, we can't do that. But yeah, I mean it's aside from that though, there were a lot of like it was for me it was really fun to just be like, because you play a game enough and you're like how do they do this, how do they do that, so a lot of like systems that are in Dark Souls, just implementing them as a developer has been really fun. It's fun, it's challenging. A lot of like inventory stuff, like dialogues, menus, all those, the way they do it, it was something I had to figure out how to do on my own. That was kind of fun, kind of messy at first, but kind of fun. That's one thing. Like I don't think a lot of games are big on like RPG type stuff. Like Charlie Murder had more of like an RPG light kind of feel, but Solid Sanctuary, it's like very deep, very technical, and just figuring out how to represent all of it as structures, and how to keep it all balanced and clean has been an interesting challenge, and a lot of fun.
Sweet. And speaking of the game, now when is the release date? Do we have an estimated date? Do we have something like early something?
When it's done, yeah, maybe early something.
2000 XX, like in Mega Man.
Yeah, I'm not sure if are we saying that it won't be this year, but it won't be late next year either.
Okay, sweet.
It's as soon as possible. I mean, I will say that the base game is pretty much done, but there's a lot of polish that it still needs,
Yeah, the first 90% is done, now there's the second 90%.
Yeah. I was gonna say, there is a saying in game development, but you beat me to it.
Yeah, I'm exactly there with it for next, actually. Like, I would finish like the core mechanics and everything, but now I have like tons of lists of to-dos of like nitpicky stuff that takes like it's not really long, but I have like 1,000 of them, and that's the longest part, So yeah, okay. So where can we get updated by the game? Your website? You have a newsletter, Facebook, Twitter?
We
have a blog that we also have a newsletter that not too many people are signed up for.
Okay.
Our blog is where we do most of our updates, and then the newsletter will be it'll be basically what the blog is saying, but occasionally it'll have bigger announcements.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll have to get that too.
Should we type it in the chat?
Yeah, sure. The chat is yours, guys. Okay.
Is it gonna eat it? There's Ska Studios, and then Ska Studios. I'm James Illa, and there's Shell
Subscribe
Dragon.
To the newsletter right now. All right,
and,
there you go. Okay.
Here is the trailer. I think this is the current one. It might have been the one that you showed already.
Sweet. I'm gonna pop that one after the interview. So yeah, guys, thank you very much. It was super helpful. Please feel free to hang out in the chat with us a little bit more. And you can spam the chat with your stuff, and you can hang out to ask other questions and everything. You're welcome here. Thank you very much. It was very helpful, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us. It was
Sure.
it was a lot of fun. Yeah,
Sweet.
I had a good time, and I'm so glad that everyone got to hear about our stuff.
Sweet, man. We're gonna stay tuned on that.
Awesome.
Okay.
See ya, guys.
All right, take
Bye.
care.